Hello everyone and welcome back to This Day in History, our nightly look back at a specific day in history, where we take a look back at the events of a day, the historic context in which they took place, and the historic ramifications of those events. We also take a look at some people that were born on that day, and some people that died on that day. As always, if you have not yet, please hit the subscribe button, the bell notification icon to be alerted anytime I post new content, and tell a friend. Spread the news far and wide of the channel. And without any further ado, this day in history, April the 26th. And on this day in 1937, the Nazis bombed Guernica, Spain. Over 1,000 civilians died during the impromptu attack. This was the first aerial bombing of a city that gained worldwide attention. The air raid introduced tactics that were adopted by both Allied and Axis powers during World War II. And the Nazis weren't at war with Spain, is the thing. This was just a test run for them. And as I said, it was the first really aerial bombardment that got worldwide attention and really exposed to the wider world that you could drop bombs from an aerial device and be massively effective at causing death and destruction. So a monumental day in war tactics and fighting strategy that would have consequences up to this day. Aerial bombardments are one of the more common tactics used by Western armies in their war-making and war-fighting powers today. You're more likely to see a country do an air raid on a specific area and a specific target than commit ground forces. It's always now a big leap for the U.S. to commit ground troops and ground forces to an area than just flying over somewhere and dropping a bunch of bombs on an area. Now, granted, the difference here is countries now take precautions to limit civilian casualties and civilian deaths, whereas the Nazis did not care about civilian deaths and the collateral damage that was inflicted upon. They were just pure evil. But as I said, kind of a monumental day in the war-making and military strategy field. Some births that occurred on this day. In 1992, in Linden, California, New York Yankees right fielder Aaron Judge was born. As I speak, and as this video has been recorded in 2020, Aaron Judge is the anticipated starting right fielder for the New York Yankees once the 2020 season begins. In 2017, he was the unanimous pick for AL Rookie of the Year and placed second in AL MVP voting for the most valuable player that year. He broke the Major League Baseball rookie record of 52 home runs in his rookie season. Judge was adopted one day after his birth by the judges of Linden, California, as I said, and was not told he was adopted until he was 10 years old. He, along with his brother, were both adopted. But he says, he always kind of suspected it because Mr. Judge is biracial and his parents are not. And he said, I kind of realized I didn't look like them. He is known as a very personable person. All accounts of him saying he's very humble and willing to be a team player type of person. One notable thing about Judge is he wears the number 99, and that is not a common number for MLB starters to wear, or even players who have gone on to the success that Judge has went on to. Because those numbers in Major League Baseball are usually designated for players in spring training who the club does not expect to make the roster. And of course, Judge has. Judge has said in an interview that he would prefer the number 43. The New York Yankees have retired that number as it was worn by Mr. October, Reggie Jackson. Judge stands 6 feet 7 inches tall and is one of the tallest players in the major leagues. Deaths that occurred on this day. In 2013, at the age of 81 in Nashville, Tennessee, country music legend George Jones died. Jones, of course, was a country music Hall of Famer and very gifted performer. But Mr. Jones also battled alcoholism and drug addiction for many years. And this led to him getting the moniker for some time as a no-show Jones. But in the latter years of his life, George Jones had cleaned up his life and began performing again. One of the more famous incidents in Jones' life was at a country music awards presentation in the late 90s. Jones had a song that was a hit on the radio called Choices that talked about his battle with alcoholism. And they only wanted him to play a few verses of the song on the live broadcast. So Alan Jackson could perform his song, Pop Top, again. And as the song played on, Alan Jackson stopped mid-song and started playing Choices. The whole place erupted, and later Jones was able to come out and sing his song Choices. So yeah, that was a big moment. When he died, Jones had actually had a concert scheduled for November of 2013 that was going to be his last concert in Nashville, but he obviously died in April. That concert in turn turned into a tribute performance of Jones. His funeral was attended by many leading luminaries. Former First Lady Laura Bush eulogized him. Then Tennessee Governor Bill Haslam gave a eulogy. Former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee gave a eulogy. Bob Schieffer of CBS News gave a eulogy. And many others. And it just showed the wide depth of people that knew and respected George Jones. And it was broadcast, of course, on country music television, Great American Country Television, Family Net, which is a streaming service online for kind of faith-based material. Also, it was broadcast on a Sirius XM radio on their country station, and was broadcast on WSM 650 out of Nashville, which is the home radio station of the Grand Ole Opry. Of course, Jones was a member of the Opry. The family requested that in his death, contributions be made to the Country Music Hall of Fame. So that is all I have time for. Thank you all, and I'll see you again tomorrow.